a lot of people who live here in Kansas City comment on my page saying things like, "We're full," or "Please don't move here." And it got me thinking, is Kansas City overcrowded? I help people relocate to Kansas City. It's what I do, and I get some hate in my comments from people who live here saying things like, "Stop telling people to move here." Now, while I am flattered that these folks think that I have the ability to influence the masses, the reality is that the people that I help were already planning on moving to Kansas City. They just so happened to come across my channel. So in this video, I'll be sharing why people are moving to Kansas City, whether or not it's affecting the overall affordability, and if Kansas City has in fact become overcrowded. Which leads us to the question, if you were to move to Kansas City, are you going to be welcomed? Well, I just helped a couple move here from Texas where they didn't really feel that welcomed at all, and their experience so far here in KC has been the exact opposite. They're elated to have landed in a welcoming neighborhood. They're getting plugged into their community. They've told me on more than one occasion that Kansas City already feels like home. They've only been here for a few weeks. And that Midwestern hospitality is the one thing that is undeniable about living in Kansas City. So don't let a few negative comments on the internet convince you otherwise. And if you're considering making a move, then be sure to download our free relocation guide in the description below. So why are people moving to Kansas City? Well, I found that it's a combination of three things really. The job market in Kansas City is constantly evolving, and it presents a wide range of opportunities across various industries. One of KC's strong suits is its ability to maintain a stable job market even during tough times. The city is known for being a hub for healthcare, finance, technology, and manufacturing industries, which provides a diverse set of career options to choose from. Currently, the unemployment rate in Kansas City is super low, only 2.8%, meaning that there are way more job openings than people who are out of work. Because of this, companies are looking for talented folks from outside of our area, and many people are moving to Kansas City to snag a job. I've personally helped a lot of people move to KC for job opportunities. Some of my clients have received attractive relocation packages from their employers, which include payment for movers and, in some cases, assistance with down payments and closing costs for a home. It's amazing that people are getting paid to move to Kansas City for employment, and I think it speaks volumes to the trajectory of our city. Yeah, but isn't Kansas City all just barbecue and professional sports teams? Sure, those are definitely big reasons and ones that we here in KC are quite proud of, but they're not the only things the city has to offer. In fact, I had a conversation just the other day with someone who's moving here from New York City, and his perspective of KC is a big reason that it's catching more and more people's attention. There's a unique blend of arts, music, and community that, frankly, you won't find anywhere else. Now, our art scene and dining options may not be on par with places like New York or Los Angeles, but our community is definitely more welcoming than those areas. Kansas City is a pretty cool place, and lots of folks are surprised by how lively it is once they visit. There are some really unique things to see and do here, like the Crossroads Art District, which has tons of galleries, studios, and theaters. The Nelson Atkins Museum is a national treasure, and the Kaufman Center for Performing Arts is the place to be for music, dance, and theater performances. Speaking of music, it's a big part of the fabric of Kansas City, especially jazz. They call it the jazz capital of the world for a reason, and there's no better place to enjoy live jazz and appreciate the influence that it's had on our city than the 18th and Vine Historic Jazz District. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Kansas City has a lot going on that most people aren't even aware of until they have a chance to experience it firsthand. I think most people are surprised to find that KC has a rich cultural scene once they spend some time here. Now, this last one is tough because, well, at the root of it, this is really what the people saying things like "we're full" or "don't move here" are most upset about. Apparently, rent prices in Kansas City increased more than in any other city in 2023. And if that's not enough, home prices in some parts of the city have gone up by 30 to 40% over the past 3 years. And while blaming newcomers for skyrocketing prices is easy, it's not the reason behind the lack of affordability. I wish it were as easy as pointing the finger at one particular group. However, as with most things, there are several contributing factors to the price increases, one of which is out-of-state investors. Earlier this year, NPR published an article that disclosed how 16% of homes in Missouri were bought by out-of-state investors, which is higher than the national average of 13%. This has resulted in a surge in demand. This increase in demand comes at a time when there have simply been fewer homes available for sale. Get this, prior to the pandemic, Kansas City averaged between 8,000 to 10,000 homes for sale throughout the year. However, since 2020, it's been more like 4,000 to 6,000 homes for sale. That's a considerable drop in supply, and in my opinion, it's been the leading contributor to the accelerated price growth. The combination of increased demand and limited supply has certainly affected the overall affordability, especially for first-time home buyers here in Kansas City. That being said, Kansas City is still way more affordable than many big cities. The median home price here peaked at $300,000 back in June. That's half of the median home price in Denver, and a fraction of what people are paying in California. But just how many people are moving to Kansas City, and is there any validity behind the "please don't move here" comments? Well, last year an article came out calling Kansas City America's next hot destination. They listed a bunch of reasons why people are flocking here: great people, good jobs, awesome culture, and cheaper living costs. However, even though Kansas City has received a lot of good publicity, it's nowhere near the top of the list of cities where people are moving to. I came across an article by MoveBuddha.com that gives an in-depth look into the moving trends in 2023. Their research shows the top cities and states that people are moving to, and what I love about it is what they call the in-out ratio. So about this ratio, anything over 1 means that there are more people moving to a region. Anything under means there are more people leaving. The top big city that people are moving to in 2023 is Charlotte, North Carolina, with an in-out ratio of 1.65, meaning that for every 100 people that move out of the city, there are 165 people moving to the city. Other top cities that people are moving to include Denver, Tampa, and Houston. Meanwhile, the exodus from California continues, which is reflected in these cities with the lowest in-out ratio, including San Francisco, San Diego, and Los Angeles. And while Kansas City doesn't make it on either list for people moving to or from, the data does show that there are more people exiting the states of Kansas and Missouri than moving to. This led me to researching the population growth of the Kansas City metro. Turns out KC is growing at a slower pace than before 2020. Previously, we were growing by 1 to 1.25% every year, but now that growth has slowed to less than 1% per year. Personally, I think slower growth is a good thing because I've been a part of a city that grew too quickly in Denver. When you have a high in-out ratio, it creates problems for housing and infrastructure. So why exactly does it feel like more people are moving to Kansas City? Well, I think there is some truth there that there are more people moving to Kansas City from other states that had never really considered KC as a viable option before. Seeing the city's growing infrastructure and public transportation, like our new international airport, for example, has opened the door for Kansas City. And it's the combination of a strong job market, rich culture, and affordability that's led to Kansas City ending up on the radar for many people who are relocating. And I personally believe that the more people that move here only contributes to making Kansas City a better place overall. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you feel like there's an influx of people moving to Kansas City? And if you recently moved to KC, how do you feel like you've been received? There's no denying that the city is embracing growth. That's obvious to those of us who live here. So if you're considering a move to KC, then you need to know what else the city has going for it. And for that, you'll definitely want to check out this video here where I lay out all the nitty-gritty details about the top 7 developments that are making waves here in Kansas City.